Welcome back to Take a Moment. I'm your host, Liam. And in this episode, we're focusing on the reality of recovery, what it looks like, what it takes, and why it matters. Our episode is called Take a Moment to Understand Recovery. I'm joined today by Barbara McClane, Alison, and Tawana. So to start things off, I'm going to let everyone take a moment to introduce themselves. So Alison, why don't we start off with you?
Hi, I'm Alison McCarthy, and I am the Mental Health and Wellness Counselor here at CT State Middlesex.
Tawana, what about yourself?
Hi, I'm Tawana Preston, and I'm the SNAP Coordinator and Care Specialist here at CT State Middlesex.
And Barbara, why don't you tell us about yourself?
Hi, I'm Barbara McClane. I'm a published author. I'm a woman in long-term recovery, professional photographer, and I live in Cromwell.
Oh, perfect. Hey, nice area.
Retired, working too.
There you go.
I'm jealous.
Congratulations.
Yes.
So to start things off, Barbara, what made recovery real and possible for you? It's a big question.
Yeah. So it's hard to say about the recovery part without introducing a little bit about the addiction.
Of course.
Yeah, you got to put a little bit of that in there. And it's a short story. I felt that I was finally worthy to get into recovery. And I first had to admit that I needed the help. Without that, I would have kept spiraling downward. And I made a decision in the early 80s by going to a meeting, a 12-step meeting. But I couldn't stay because I was comparing my story to other men and women in the rooms. And then I later went back out and started using again. And that episode lasted for a couple of years. And finally, I'm going to say this, at 43, I realized that I couldn't do it anymore. I honestly needed to ask for help. And my first ask for help was more spiritual. I needed to know where I was going to get the help from before I went outside. Yeah. So just asking God first.
Yeah.
I need help. And no sooner than I said, God, I need help, He found a way. I received a phone call from a drug addiction organization saying, hey, you came into our office 6 months ago. Do you still need help? And I was openly admitting, saying, yes, I do. And it was a long sigh. It was a release. Yes, I do need help. And so eventually I moved to Connecticut. So I've been here 21 years. And when I came to Connecticut, I went to a 12-step program, and I sat in the seats, and I raised my hand and said, hey, just coming back from a relapse, and I'm here for the first time, and I'm new to the state. And the people who sat in the chairs, I could see their faces. And it was a large room, but I could feel the authenticity of them being clean. And that gave me a tiny seed of hope that you could do this too. And that mustard seed grew. Matter of fact, I just left a meeting, the same meeting I stepped into 21 years ago. There was an afternoon meeting, I went today. There's something that I need to do. So, and every day. So it's just not one time. It's every day I have to recover responsible.
But your perception of it changed from where once you were,
it
was a comparison to other people.
Yes.
It became more of a community.
Right. And I just needed to align myself with the community. I needed the community to get to know who I was and vice versa.
So what role did storytelling and self-expression play in this journey that you've taken?
I think by them allowing me to share my experience, they asked me, who are you? And you're here, you're new in Connecticut, who are you? And I always pray first. so it could come out good, you know. Yeah.
Well, I think a big part of those groups, it is the story, like you say. It's like everyone has a story, and everyone's story is so intrinsically unique to themselves, and not everyone else. But that's not a room for you to compare yourself to another person, but it's a room for you to understand and also empathize with other people like that.
Right. And one of the ways that I had to be transparent, you know, the disease of addiction will have you lying and covering up.
Yeah.
And that's what it had for me. It had me lying, covering up, scrambling for answers. And once I got into a 12-step program, I had to be transparent if I wanted any of this to work. I had to be able to tell the truth and tell on the disease of addiction and where it was really, like, where was I headed. That's the only way that I could help, because what happened was other people started identifying, and vice versa. I started identifying with them like, yeah, me too. I did the same thing. And that softened my gauge inside to say, relax your shoulders.
Yeah.
Take your tongue from the roof of your mouth. You okay. You're safe.
It allows you to not judge yourself so harsh if you're not going to judge others. You know?
Right,
That's
right.
amazing.
And
That's amazing.
I had to, there's a saying like, put the bat down, because the addiction kept me beating up myself every time I didn't get it right.
Yeah.
But then I learned along the way that you could still beat up on yourself, but use a feather, use something light and easy on you, because that road of addiction was very hard.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's like you seek forgiveness, but also from yourself, too.
Right.
Yeah.
You're right. I had to learn how to forgive myself, and that's a process. It's an everyday process.
Yeah.
You know, because you know, my recovery keeps me in the forefront of life.
Yeah.
You know, like and the life that I've lived. You know, it just doesn't go away.
No.
It is an everyday,
Yeah.
continuous mindset. I won't use today, and that's all that I have. It's like, you know, you got your 24 hours. I think in the morning, and I think when I lay down. Like, thank you for not allowing me to use anything today, any drugs. Let's put it that way.
Yeah.
I might use food.
That's a whole nother story.
That's a whole nother topic.
Whole nother story.
But
That'll get you here.
yeah, but not allowing me to use drugs.
Yeah. So that's the importance of, like, these group settings. So, like, Alison, Tawana, what support systems are effective for students navigating recovery and crisis from what you've experienced? Like,
Well, I want to just take a step back
Please.
To Miss Barbara. Just being in your presence and understanding the very first word that you said, worthy. And the moment that we allow ourselves to know without any question that we are worthy, we are capable of so much. And the strength that it took, and it takes every single day. Like you said, you just went to a meeting today. Because this is a journey. It's not just something that magically disappears after you make it through the 12 steps.
Right.
The steps repeat themselves at times. And you being here means so much, because this was something that you and I manifested.
Yes.
I actually have been following you on social media and had the opportunity to meet you in person on March 5th of 2025. So just a few weeks ago. And the day that I met you, you actually celebrated me and you purchased my book, Therapist Unmasked.
Yes.
And that meant so much from one author to another that we, you know, hold each other up.
Yep.
And in this space that we're in today, just being able to share your story and for me to just be in this space. On March 19th, I was in your DMs and I'm like, I need to know you better. Like, we're going to work together. And you said, we're going to have a project together.
Yes.
And today, April 1st, 2025, within weeks, we are together working on a podcast. So your words hold power. And what, like you said, for your recovery to be what it is, you had to first ask for help. And the words sometimes have to come from our mouths. They're in our hearts and in our minds.
Right.
But when we're addicted, those things sometimes can't leave our lips because we're struggling and we don't know how to start. And what Alison and I try to do here on campus for our students is to create a space, whether you call it a safe space or a space that they can just be themselves. That's what we try to provide here. So our campus counseling wellness center is a space that we have a sign right outside. This is safe. You know, you come with whatever you come with, and we're going to give you guidance and support to get to where you need to be the best version of yourself, so that you can be successful on this campus. In addition to our counseling center, because Alison is amazing at what she does.
Oh, thank you.
I feel like I manifested her too, because I was an intern here. I was an intern, and I was the only counseling support that they had for a while, and I wasn't a master of my craft yet, but I am now with the LMSW.
Come on.
And I went into Alison's office and I prayed in that space for the person that could give the students what they needed once I wasn't able to do that in the role that I'm in now. And she's here. So Alison,
Thank you.
You do a great job daily, beyond, you know, what Alison's able to do, because campus is only open so many hours, and Alison deserves a life too. So we do have services like Timely Care, which is our 24/7 virtual mental health and wellness services that are free to all CT State students to be able to receive medical support, counseling support. We have peer groups virtually. We have so much through this one app that CT State provides for us, and that our students don't have to just be here to get the support, because when you're addicted, it's that late night hour that things might happen, you know? So any time of the day or night, our students have support, whether it's here on campus or virtually.
Thank you.
Yeah, and in addition to the counseling services that we provide, Tawana provides amazing basic needs support for students, because a lot of times students also need help with housing and clothing and different things like that, that without those things, it's hard to then move to those other levels of recovery and things like that. I think programming-wise, we bring in a number of different programs to the campus to help students with the recovery and to kind of reduce the stigma and have people feel comfortable getting help. Like Barbara said, it takes strength to ask for help. There's a lot of stigma around mental health, and sometimes people don't realize, you know, what can happen in recovery, and that they really can and are worthy of these different things to be able to make these changes in their lives. And sometimes people have struggled for a while, and that healing process, that recovery process, is not always a linear one. It doesn't always go in a straight line. We often, we take a couple steps this way, and then we take a couple steps another way, and we kind of circle back around. And so part of what we offer really for students is that open door, that come back in. You can start again. You can always start again, and we can be there for you. But Barbara had come to our campus. When I first met her, she was actually presenting what we call a courageous conversation on our campus. And that's a program where people share their story and help others. And so that is one of the ways that we can support students as well, is by sharing our own stories and then helping them be able to look at how their story may be similar and it may be different. Barbara talked about a lot of people in recovery, lots of different stories. But the one similarity is everyone is struggling in their own way. And so if we can find that humanity within ourselves and connect with one another, I think that really becomes important.
You bring up stigma, because specifically with mental health, it's largely stigmatized, and even more specifically, addiction and recovery is even further stigmatized than just, say, dealing in anxiety and depression. How do you respond to stigma when you see it in everyday life? Because I'm sure you do.
Yes, I do. Try to stomp it out with some hope and inspiration. I believe that we are put here to help one another, and stigma is like racism. There's no room for it. And if we have one person that believes, so I believe in others, because I know others believe in me as well. So I just try my best just to hug them with words, hug them with, what was given to me freely, just giving back, going in the back and reaching and pulling someone else forward, and being hey, if I could do it, I know that you could do it. Because we got to believe in people.
Yeah.
Yeah. So that's how we stomp out the stigma, by believing in people. Yes.
So what can someone do if they want help but are unsure or feel ashamed, like going off of that? Like, well, what could that person do?
Yeah, because I carried some guilt and shame when I didn't know what to do. And, I always talk about prayer. But, like one step further is finding your tribe, finding people who do believe. And even if it's just one person, if you find that one person to be able to talk to, I believe in writing.
Yeah.
So even if it's like, let me just write down my feelings, one line leads to something else, and it leads to get a little bit deeper. Yeah. Writing out your thoughts and your feelings.
Journaling is something that has really, in recent years, become very important to like people dealing with mental health struggles in general.
Yes, it is. But finding your people, though, and they're out there. Find one person, and they're already probably in your circle, and believe that you could drop your shoulders and trust, because that's that's the bottom line. We want to be able to trust somebody with the stuff that we've may feel shame or guilty about. But we find that one person. Listen. It spreads
like a key.
It's a game changer.
It is a game changer, and it opens up. The doors will open up wider, and the door is never closed. It might be just ajarred, but the door.
You find
will
that
open.
one person, and then you can be that one person
right,
for
and
someone else.
That's right, and then it just spreads like a wildfire.
Yeah, it's amazing. It's amazing.
Even if people feel like they don't have, a family or a friend or something like that they can reach out to, that there are a lot of people in the community. So whether people, if they feel like they're ready, to seek out professional mental health services, they can go out to a website like Psychology Today and look for specific people. But even in their religious organizations or their doctors or different, people in the field are happy to support them and help them get connected to people who can help them. Lots of communities have support groups. On campus, we try to create some safe spaces and programs where students can come and also feel that they can find that one person that they trust, that one person they connect with. And one piece related to that I would say is, if people have gone out and said, I tried that before, I met with so-and-so and that didn't work, try someone else. It's just like when you go to a class and one teacher is the right connection for you and a different teacher, maybe their style isn't that match, and you find different people. It's the same thing with therapy. It's the same thing with anything else, or it's the same thing with a different process. For some people, a support group might be the way, and other people might need to have one-on-one therapy or something else. So if something hasn't worked, be willing to try other things.
It's very similar to like learning styles, where some are visual, some are auditory, and some need that physical support or something. Yeah,
you got to find your thing.
Yeah,
what
exactly.
works for you.
Because everyone's experience is their own.
That's right. It's no cookie cutter.
Exactly.
No cookie cutter. And there's multiple pathways of this life. There's multiple ways. 12-step work for me. It might not work for the next person.
Right.
Therapy might work more, for them. Or, but the community is wider now. The resources is vast. So I'm quite sure, like, once you allow yourself to feel like I'm worthy enough, the universe conspires to lead you where you need to go.
That goes off of like manifesting in a way.
It goes about manifesting. We just, Tawana just talked about it, and it is real. The universe will conspire. I'm here because the universe conspired, but I felt worthy enough first. And the universe got that energy and said, yes, you are, but I'm going to show you how. I'm going to sit you at the tables so you could share and give the hope so it could be manifested in other people's lives as well.
And I find
Life
that
is.
too, like with the students, they feel like sometimes, because I know as a student, when I was doing my master's program, I felt like I had to know everything already, or had to be a certain way, or you're supposed to be perfect already. Because I only get A's. That was my law. But, for the students that are ashamed or unsure of where to begin, what we try to do with our programming here is to bring people in, because it might not be that I'm their cup of tea or Allison. It may be that they need somebody that has been in these shoes, because we haven't worn every shoe that we, work with. So, like, for instance, we had Kelvin Young here, who his story is truly amazing, of his journey of recovery from addiction and becoming a sound healer. And bringing people like that to campus that have different ideologies and things that might be a different way that students may not have ever been exposed to before is so important, because it opens the door. The door has been ajar because Allison and I are here, but it's broken open even more when we bring people that have these lived experience, so that the students can see, wow, this person made it and this is how they did it. And bringing people to connect to our students so that they can see themselves outside of their addiction and beyond it. And if they don't know where to begin, maybe some of the steps that may have been taken by yourself or someone like Kelvin Young may be something that can change the life of one of our students or many of our students, because the key to this whole thing that we do here at CT State is success. And we want people to educate themselves and go beyond. And when life comes with all of the different challenges that it does, being successful can sometimes be the last thing on your list of to-dos. I'm just trying to make it through the day without using.
That's
or
right.
I'm just trying to make it through the day, with having had something to eat.
Yeah.
So just understanding what it means when it comes to the word community. That piece of our name in CT State Community College is the big piece, community.
Yes, community.
So for Barbara, what does ongoing recovery look like? And not just talking about surviving, but like thriving, because as you are now, you're a published author, you're somebody, you're a business owner. I mean, what does that take? Like, what does this look like for you? Like,
dedication. And it still aligns with, I feel worthy enough to be dedicated.
And you said it.
To live the life that
Yeah.
I manifest. Yeah. I feel worthy of every. Someone said to me yesterday, Someone said to me yesterday that everything that you touch, I asked for prayer in a certain area of my life. And the woman said, every area that you have touched, you have been anointed. And I didn't grab hold to it yesterday. But today I was driving and listening to some music. And I was like, yeah, God, thank you. You have anointed my life. And so I just keep going. I'm 64 years old. I'm walking into being 65.
Go girl.
And that hit me the other day, too. And someone said, just keep going till you can't go no more. My family, finding my biological family after 60 years has opened up, like my heart wider.
Yeah.
The sense of belonging somewhere, the community.
Yeah.
There's a community in your family, so.
And like you said before, it's every day.
It's
not,
every
It's
day.
not just a passive thing you take for granted. It is an everyday.
It's an everyday ask, every day of having gratitude.
Yeah. I think that idea of it is every day can be daunting to someone who is in it, who is addicted, actively using. The idea of every day you're going to have to, and maybe it'll get like you can fall, but it'll still be every day. And
But it'll still be every day. Yeah.
It's amazing.
Yeah.
So what message do you hope this campaign sends about recovery and support? Like, if you had to leave a note on this, like, what would you want people to get from this, from our talking here?
That you're worthy. There's resources. There's a community designed just for you. And you deserve better. And you don't have the lifestyle of using drugs. Doesn't have to be. Ask for help. And wait for it. Wait for it. No matter how you got to wait. Because sometimes waiting is still using. But there's a part that's going to drop. As you keep asking, it's going to get softer. It's going to get lighter, you know. And before you know it, you're going to be in a community that deserves you. Because you're worthy of it. Yeah.
I think related to what Barbara was saying, and I guess, or going back to what Barbara was saying, but really for people to realize that they are not alone. There are people out in the community who do care, who can connect with us, and that it's going to be a journey. It's going to be a process, but that there are, ways that people can get help. And I'm not sure if people are aware, but there's a National Suicide Crisis Lifeline, 988, which is a phone number that people can call if they're in a mental health crisis. So just like we would call 911 for police, fire, emergency, people can just pick up the phone and dial 988, or they can text 741-741. Sometimes you're in a situation where it's not safe to talk, but you can also text. And so there are places where people can get support even in their toughest times. So to know that you're not alone and there are people that do care.
Yeah. Thank you.
And just continuing to work on you. It can be minute by minute. It can be hour by hour, but just continuing to push forward. And even on the days that are harder than others, just that one thing that you did was enough. And you are enough.
That's right.
And the time that you take to start within is going to be what allows you to manifest it on the outside.
So I think like the power of manifesting your own life and the lives of others is a big takeaway too. It's that there is real strength there, and there's no shame in asking for help if you need it.
It's the greatest resource.
It is sometimes the hardest step. That first asking for help can be the hardest. Yeah.
And when people are looking at, mental health support or recovery, different pieces of those processes, they say that, the average person, I think, waits like 7 to 10 years before they actually get the help that they're seeking. So, if I were to break my leg, I wouldn't necessarily wait 7 to 10 years to go see a doctor. Yeah. But my mental health is part of my health as well, and my recovery is part of my health and all of these things. So, viewing those things as part of just our health, as if we broke our leg, and getting that support from that trained professional is really important to be able to make that ask.
That's a great analogy, yeah.
So
I want to thank you all for taking a moment with us. Seriously.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Yes, thank you.
A real pleasure. If Barbara's story or anything about this conversation stuck out with you, don't keep it to yourself. Share this. Talk about it and sit with what you heard. We hope to see you all at Harbor Park on May 3rd for a powerful community event focused on mental health and healing. Until next time, take care of yourself and take a moment when you need it.